The cell phone and the fresco paintings were great inventions.
In 1500 BC, the Greeks created a very unique way of painting, fresco painting. This method consisted of a colored stain mixed with water layer on a fresh plaster layer on a plain wall. The first fresco painting method to ever be used is the buon fresco method.
The cell phone was invented because you could only talk from a house or a place with electricity. Martin Cooper knew that people needed freedom that comes from anytime, anywhere telephony. Martin Cooper, a former Motorola employee, invented it in April 3, 1973. The only functions that it had were dial, talk, and listen. The maximum time you could talk with someone was 35 minutes. This invention has shaped and influenced our world like it is now.
During the Renaissance, fresco artists were the main decorators in Italy and Europe. Giotto, an Italian Renaissance painter, painted a vast amount of frescoes, which now decorate churches in the cities of Rome, Padua, Florence, Naples, and Assisi. These frescoes made churches look livelier. Another Renaissance painter, Masaccio, worked in his frescoes for 6 years and strongly influenced the way people appreciated art pieces because of the genius behind his work and the high-quality realism in his paintings. These paintings were used to decorate many churches and government buildings, along with frescoes from 100 other artists that lived in the Renaissance. Frescoes were always painted inside important buildings. These decorations also allowed people to understand better various religious beliefs or traditions because they got to see what these looked like. This clearly shows that fresco artists were crucial to decoration at the time.
Cell phones have increased the amount of safety we have when leaving our homes. For example, if you go on a road trip and suddenly your car breaks down, you just call a truck instead of walking for hours to find a house that has a phone. Even a woman once drove into a ravine, called 911 and said, "I'm in a car and I'm sinking." And then firemen came and helped her out. Not only have increased the safety, but they have made our life much simpler. For people who travel a lot for work but need to be in contact, the cell phone has helped them a lot to contact people. Cell phones are economical, are vital for travelers, lifesavers, and essential for communication.
After more than 500 years, fresco painting has evolved into the art of graffiti. Just like frescoes, modern-day graffiti usually represented three main topics: religion, politics, and sometimes even romance. The difference is that nowadays graffiti is also used to advertise products and as a form of protest. At first, graffiti was seen as a nuisance for its sense of vandalism, but as years went by, it started blending in with society and became a very common sight inside cities. Graffiti started off as spray-painted words, but as years went by, graffiti artists started using the spray paint to make very complex images which included shadows, colors, and also 3D effects. With all these connections, it is clear that graffiti is a descendant of the fresco family that was created many years ago.
This invention may be incredibly exceptional, but everything has a negative side to it. Cell phones causes bullying with this media, and it is one of the most popular ways of bullying. Cyberbullying can cause depression, social withdrawal, violence, anxiety, and suicide. It has a negative impact on your health because it has lots of bacteria and you can have diseases. It causes eye vision problems, pain in the joints. Nowadays, cell phones are much more improved and have amazing features. One of them is access to internet. By having internet, it has opened a whole new world for social life. It has messaging, apps, and camera. This invention has revolutionized the ways of communications that we have right now.
The three common factors that make innovations happen are that both our inventions required new discoveries, time, and autonomy.
Innovations come from new discoveries. For example, in cell phones, the wireless connection was invented by a Motorola employee. With that technology, Martin Cooper invented the cell phone. In conclusion, if that discovery hadn't been created, the cell phone wouldn't exist.
Fresco paintings required a whole new discovery, which involved the plaster that allowed the work to be painted straight into the wall. This discovery was the lime plaster below the painting. This plaster was used to make different layers in case anything went wrong, and its discovery decreased the time in which frescoes were painted.
Innovations are also made because inventors have the freedom to do it. For example, when Martin Cooper invented the cell phone, no one told him that he couldn't invent one or that it was prohibited. Instead, when they made the cell phone, they appreciated that he had created it. It is clear that he had freedom because even Motorola invested $100 million on him, so they let him have the resources required, which allowed him to make the cell phone the way he wanted. If Motorola hadn't wanted that, they wouldn't have given him the funds.
When Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper, the freedom and autonomy he got when painting allowed him to choose a particular moment in the supper, go outside to look for models of Jesus and his disciples' faces, and even get to use his own kind of plaster below the painting. This was important because in order for his painting to be unique and have the quality that was expected, he used the freedom to make every single detail his own way, allowing the painting to be exactly what the Sforzas wanted.
We concluded that you also need time to make an invention, and that was exactly what Martin Cooper had. The making of the cell phone, as you should know, took lots of time. This was because you needed to find a whole new discovery and do something that anyone had ever done. I mean, if you talk about this to someone, they would think you like a crazy person. Even though it took Martin Cooper 13 years to create a cell phone and bring it to a market. Moreover, as you can see, he had enough time to make his first cell phone because he finished it before he died.
Leonardo da Vinci took over 3 years in painting The Last Supper. All the time that he took allowed him to be able to overlook every detail, choose the right models, and design the perfect color for each spot. Those 3 years that he took made his work authentic and one of the best known works of art in history.
It is clear that these inventions have changed our world like it is now and made our lives much simpler.